I've never had much luck with Souls-likes. I was never really drawn to the genre, and even my pitiful attempts to get into these games usually ended up with me uninstalling them or simply losing any desire to keep playing. I thought I'd start with Sekiro. After all, it's the game of the year, and if you're going to be the Souls-like, it might as well be a good one. But it turned out to be so hard for me that I could not get past this one particular segment. I simply couldn't kill that mini-boss. And then I thought, alright, well, that didn't work, let's try something less intense. So I launched another Crab's Treasure, and honestly it is a good game, but I got bored of it pretty quickly.
Wow, I haven't stubbed my toe in 5 months, I said with joys. I was then shot 57 times.
But finally, I got lucky. I found a game that…
Well, actually, it's not a Souls-like at all. It's an action RPG where you gather resources, cook food, and really how dare you even talk about something related to Dark Souls if you haven't beaten all 4 games in a row, including Demon's Souls without dying once.
I know, but hear me out. I think this project offers a fresh perspective for Souls-like fans and also serves as a great introduction for those new to the genre, since it's not particularly difficult. Moreover, it has a dodge roll mechanic, so honestly I don't even want to hear any of that. Let me introduce you to No Rest for the Wicked, a blend of Diablo and Dark Souls currently in early access. At first, people received it quite coldly, complaining about optimization issues and a ton of bugs, but it's been over a year since then, and the developers haven't been sitting idle. So I suggest we take a look at the fruits of their labor. Enjoy watching.
My sister fair, she sings like morning. My sister true, she laughs like noon. My sister grace, she drowned this evening, but still visits by the light of the moon. For summer, we prayed for fall, to prosper, to love, to forgive, and our prayers came back like a little lost lamb, dying so that we may live. And our prayers came back like a voice in the dark, unanswered, but not quite the same.
Many players launching No Rest for the Wicked for the first time often rely on reviews and first impressions on Steam, where the start of the game is frequently described as a collection of standard dark fantasy cliches. The constant night storm called the blurred atmosphere by Stop Game, and the dark streets with occasional flashes of light all paint a picture that's easy to dismiss as just another ARPG with nothing special. At first glance everything feels familiar. You fight, gather resources, level up your character, and it seems like the game offers nothing new beyond a set of standard mechanics. But the surface level perception misses a lot. For example, the sounds that accompany you from very first minutes, the creak of metal, the echo of footsteps, the muffled patter of rain. As a result, the atmosphere the developers crafted with so much care gets lost amid the usual gameplay loop. The starting location, Sakura Island, at first seems like a collection of familiar visuals, half-ruined houses, traces of plague, and lurking shadows. Mixed Steam reviews mention that the plot starts with the plague, a new king, and religious conflict. It's all been done before. But if you don't look closely, the island can really blend in with any other dark fantasy setting. But beneath the surface, familiarity lies, a carefully designed world architecture that's easy to miss if you're not paying attention. The opening scene on the ship is also often seen as basic tutorial. One player described it as charming but ordinary. But if you listen to the sound of waves, notice the oppressive closeness of the environment, and spot the forgotten papers on the tables, it becomes clear that every small detail is there to build the atmosphere. These details show that even the simplest moments are filled with hidden meaning. The character creation system can also throw you off. Rough proportions of the models, which some reviewers compare to Moon Studios' signature style, after Ori might look a bit sloppy at first.
Screaming into the light.
Как я урода создал. But this is actually an intentional artistic choice. The characters are deliberately odd-looking to highlight the fragility and vulnerability in the world when no one feels truly safe. This choice helps players focus on the story they're about to experience instead of being distracted by perfect models. When players remain at the level of surface impressions, they miss what the game's atmosphere is trying to convey. Enemies are seen as just another obstacle and the ruins are a faceless backdrop. Only after a while does it become clear that behind the apparent simplicity lies a deep world that reveals itself to those willing to slow down and truly look. But what if you do learn to slow down and catch these details? Then the dark world of Sakura comes alive in new colors, and the atmosphere begins to fulfill its true role. As you dive deeper, you start to notice how the atmosphere becomes the main tool for storytelling in No Rest for the Wicked. Here, audio design plays a key role. It doesn't just accompany you, but actively connects you to the world. For example, when you walk over mossy stones, your footsteps are muffled, creating a sense of quiet solitude. But as soon as an enemy appears nearby, the sharp scrape of claws or a silent scream pierces the silence, instantly shifting your focus and creating tension. The music in the game isn't just a background noise, it responds to what's happening around you. In the interviews, developers noted that the musical themes are designed to transition smoothly from low, pulsing chords in the forest to sharp, dense notes when danger appears. This creates a feeling that the world is alive and responds to the player's actions. If you're staying at the edge of the forest, the music gradually fades, giving way to the sounds of nature. But when the fight starts, sharp musical accents crash in, emphasizing the tension of the moment. The developers even quickly fixed minor technical issues to ensure the music wouldn't cut out and break the immersion. Visual details and sound work together to bring every corner of the world to life. Even the enemies can feel different if you take the time to watch and listen. Instead of abstract models, players know how eyes suddenly glow in the dark and the sharp hiss of claws against stone can be heard. These elements not only scare you but also make every encounter unique. You can sense the danger even before you see the enemy. Footsteps, echoes, movement of wind, visibility through the fog, these aren't just details, they are participants in the story. Locations stop being static backdrops and become part of the narrative. Even simple things like the sound of rain or a yellow glow of a distant campfire draw you in deeper than you'd expect. Because of this, the world feels not just dangerous but alive, and the atmosphere becomes the core of the emotional experience. In this way, the game reminds me of Valheim. It also has a cartoony, far from photorealistic style, but this shifts your attention to details in its excellent use of lighting. This attention to detail means your perception of the game changes depending on how much you're willing to notice those nuances. The same locations and events can feel completely different when viewed on the surface versus when you tuned into the atmosphere. The locations themselves also begin to feel different as you get deeper into the game. At first they seem like the usual corridors with stairs and passages, but as you begin to explore the complex structure unfolds, even a simple walk becomes a search for hidden paths, secret rooms and unexpected enemies.
Я ни хрена не понимаю, где и как мне дойти туда.
Exploration becomes an integral part of the gameplay, and every discovered detail feels like a well-earned reward. The game's visual style also unfolds gradually. At first, the characters might seem odd due to their expressive features, but this post-Renaissance style, as noted by IGN, makes the cutscenes more vivid and memorable. The characters' faces look like they've been taken from paintings, and even the short dialogue scene feels emotionally charged. This approach helps players feel the atmosphere and sets the game apart from other titles in the genre, especially considering the fact that in terms of the story, it doesn't really have any competitors. The game's world itself changes before your eyes. At first it seems like just a series of levels, but it gradually becomes clear that the enemies and events change the environment around you. The city of Sakura and its inhabitants react to the player's actions, and new enemies appear in places that once felt safe. A simple walk through the familiar streets becomes an exploration of a living, changing world. In the end, the more attention you pay to the details, the more No Rest for the Wicked transforms in your eyes.
They'll be out soon. They told me to wait out here. Is it supper time yet? I hope Mama makes dumpling soup.
Oh. What seemed like a standard game becomes complex, atmospheric, and truly unique. All of this combines into an experience that stays with you for a long time and makes you look at even familiar genres differently. To truly understand the atmosphere of No Rest for the Wicked, focus on sounds, lighting effects, and random small details, from a rain on a deck to the whispers in ancient ruins. Even a familiar ARPG reveals itself in a new way if you pay attention to the details that usually go unnoticed. As Thomas Machler, CEO of Moon Studios, says, "We wanted players to feel like they're part of this world, not just completing quests." Try applying this approach for other games too. Listen, observe, look for unusual details, play quality games, and thank you for watching.